Jeff Grimes, offensive coordinator, Baylor.
3rd and goal at the 8th. Bohannon looking, he's got him! Touchdown!
Jeff Grimes put the bite back in the Baylor offense. Grimes inherited an offense that was ranked 118th out of 127 last year. Grimes' key ingredients for a monumental turnaround: a little-used junior quarterback, Gary Bohannon, and a linebacker turned running back, Abram Smith. The results? Nothing short of spectacular. His Bear offense, known as RVO, reliable, violent offense, jumped from 123rd nationally in rushing offense, 90 yards a game, to 227 yards a game, which is 8th nationally. They're averaging a Big 12 leading 446 yards a game. The new starting quarterback, 37th nationally in passing efficiency. That running back, Abram Smith, 7th nationally in rushing. They went from averaging 23 points a game to 33 points a game this season. Today, Jeff Grimes joins a special group of coaches. Baylor offensive coordinator Jeff Grimes is now a 2-time Broyles Award finalist.
Wow. As coaches, we're always looking for a competitive edge. And so, I'm hoping, Mark, that being the offensive lineman that I've been and coaching the position might mean something here. And, I also learned last night that Frank Broyles' first coaching job ever was at Baylor. And I see Betsy wearing her green today. I'm sure that doesn't mean anything, but it means something to me. Being here means a lot to me. So thank you so much, David, Jeff, Betsy, Molly, Mark, everyone that's involved. I know if you've been here before, and I've watched the previous speeches, you've heard people say this, but it truly is a first-class deal. Just the experience to be here has been amazing, and the way that we've been treated is phenomenal. As I stand here today, I think back on how I first got into this business. And I didn't intend to go into coaching for a lot of the reasons that we might question coaching, the nomadic lifestyle, the challenges on a family, and a lot of the things that can be seen as negatives. And so I resisted it for a while. And then I was selling advertising, and my wife was still in school, living in South Texas. And I'd been out trying to make sales all day, had to wear a suit. I had an old pickup that didn't have air conditioning, didn't have enough money to get AC fixed in it. And I'm sitting at a railroad crossing, a train's going by in front of me, and I just felt this prompting that I needed to do that. And so I consider it more than just a job, more than something that gives me the opportunity to make money. I consider it a calling, and I really, truly mean that. I feel like I'm the luckiest guy in the world to get to do what I do every single day. All the years that I've coached, and I've taken a different route than most people. I started out coaching high school football. I was a graduate assistant a couple of different places. I was a Division III coach. And then for a lot of years, those years and then many after that at the Division I level, was an offensive line coach. And always thought and dreamed and hoped that someday I would have the opportunity to become a coordinator, maybe a head coach someday. And very often didn't even get an opportunity to talk to anyone about some of those jobs. And, it's not often that people think of an offensive line coach in that light. And so for me to be here is really pretty remarkable for me personally. And as I think back on all the years that I've been coaching, all the joys, all the disappointments, and all the times when I wondered if it was ever going to happen for me to have the opportunity that I was hoping for, there was really only one person that always believed in me, was my biggest cheerleader, my biggest supporter, and that's my wife, Sherry, who's here today. Thank you. I love you. And I'm really blessed to have a wife that loves the game. I got 4 kids, Bailey, Garrison, Graydon, Jada. They love football. They've grown up around it their entire lives. And for a while, I had a real hard time trying to figure out how to coach and be a husband and be a dad. And I felt like it was going like this all the time in my life. And I couldn't find a way to find peace with it, because the demands for being a coach at this level and the recruiting and being a husband and a father, if you're going to do it the right way, those demands are great. And I wanted to do them the right way. And there was a time when I almost got out of college coaching and just said, okay, I'm gonna need to go do something else. But after spending some time just really praying about it, thinking about it with Sherry, I just didn't feel like that was the right move. And then what I learned in the next couple of years was, instead of allowing those things to pull against each other, was to find a way to bring them together. And so to have the opportunity for my wife to be involved with my players, coming and bringing them food, having them over to the house. She's got all their numbers. She's texting them all the time. We've had players stay at the house when they got shot. We've had players that had illnesses or injuries, and she goes over to their house to bring them food, and she goes, "Oh my goodness, this place is a disaster." And so she stays all day and cleans their apartment. And so to have a wife that is involved like that, I don't know. I just couldn't imagine doing it otherwise. I would have been burned out by now had that not been the case, had my kids not loved it. And so being able to bring family and football together is the way that I've found to make it work. And I feel really, really blessed. And I just want to say that to any coach that might be thinking about this, you can have it all. You can be a successful coach and a good husband and a good father if you really want to be. But you got to make the decision to want to be, and you got to make some other decisions to push some other things aside. So it was mentioned that I had the opportunity to do a video for this last year, since we didn't do it in person. And in my video, I thanked a lot of people, and I feel a little bit guilty about either doing that or not doing that today. But after thinking about it for quite some time, I decided that today I really wanted to focus on Baylor and the opportunity that I've had this year in particular. I'm grateful to be at a place where our Christian faith and values are lived out on a daily basis. I'm so thankful to President Livingstone, to our athletic director, Mac Rhodes, for giving me this opportunity and giving us the support and building an environment that allows us to really have not only the kind of success that we've had on the field, but the kind of impact in the lives of these young men that we'd like to have. Super, super grateful to Dave Aranda, who gave me this opportunity to be a head coach, as a head coach, to allow me to be his offensive coordinator. And I knew him before he was a head coach. We worked together at LSU, and I've really seen what a great head coach he is. And obviously this year's record bears that out. And the thing that I think is really cool about our team at Baylor this year is that it really has been a team effort. We've won with complementary football. We've been sound in all phases of the game. And a quick story that I think points to that would be the next segue I would have, and that's thanking the players. So many players to be thankful for. One of them who was mentioned, our running back, Abe Smith, who was not even on the offense when I first came. And one day, as coaches often do, I was expressing some frustration during spring ball, and my wife came to one of our scrimmages in the spring, and she said, "Are you sure we should really do that add-on to the house? I'm not really sure we're gonna be able to pay for that if we can't score a few points." But as I was expressing that frustration about our offense, particularly our run game, David Wetzel, who was a longtime high school Texas coach and works with us as well now, said, "Have you ever seen Abe carry the football?" And I said, "No, I didn't know he was a running back." And he said, "You ought to think about it." And so then I went to our defensive coordinator's office, Ron Roberts, and I just said to Ron, "Hey, I'm really frustrated with our run game. Do you know anybody that you think could help us?" And I didn't mention Abe's name, and he said, "Abe could be a really good running back. I know what you're looking for, and he's got that kind of toughness and that kind of resolve. You ought to think about him." And I said, "Well, he's playing for you at linebacker." And he said, "It doesn't matter. If he could be your starting running back, then that could change our team." And so what an unselfish moment that was by him to say that. And that was a huge part of our success. And then, a quarterback from Earl, Arkansas, who a lot of people didn't give a chance, a kid that bet on himself and believed in himself when a lot of people didn't recruit him as a quarterback. He's a guy that just showed up every single day and has worked. And I'd show up in the morning at 6 o'clock and he'd be there watching film. And I'd get ready to go home at 10:30 or 11, and he's still sitting there watching film. And then unfortunately he had an injury and missed these last couple of games, but this says something about the kid he is and the kind of team we have. As I'm standing on the field after the Big 12 championship, which I'm still not quite sure how we won after Coach Knowles just made us look silly for a while. After the game's over, I feel somebody pick me up and shake me. And I thought it must be one of our offensive linemen because I'm not a small guy, and sets me down, and I turn and I look, and it's Gary. And he's got a tear in his eye, and he just said, "Thank you, Coach. I'm so happy. Congratulations." And those moments are the moments that really make this worthwhile, this coaching thing worthwhile. And just a moment ago, I got a text from one of my former players who's playing in the NFL and was struggling with one of his techniques, and he's asking me, "Hey, Coach, what can I do about this? How can I help?" And I gave him some advice, and he came back to me and said, "Yeah, I tried that. It really worked." Those relationships are the things that really matter the most. And then the last thing I have to do is thank my staff. Eric Mateos, who coaches our offensive line, who I brought with me from BYU, does a tremendous job. Sean Bell coaches our quarterbacks, did an amazing job this year with 2 different quarterbacks, Juice Johnson with our running backs, Chancey Stuckey with our receivers. And once again, thank you so much to the Broyles Foundation and just giving me this opportunity to be here. I'm really honored.